Hello, everyone. My name is Mashur Ahmed Zidan, and I welcome you to yet another episode of NSU Talks. This is the virtual celebration. We are celebrating, as you know, NSU has been ranked as the number one private university in Bangladesh yet again. And with me, co hosting the show would be none other than Zaka Zishan Saif. And tonight we have a very special guest with us who is serving as the Director of Institutional Ranking Cell IRC in North South University. We have none other than Muntasir Mamun Iqbal, sir. I think a lot of you may know him as IQB, sir, from the economics department. So, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Zizan. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you, Zaka, as well.
Uh, Before we start the questionnaire, I would also like to wish everyone at home a very Merry Christmas. It is the 25th December. I mean, it is a great occasion, but at the same time, yesterday we heard a very sad news. As we all know, that our lifetime member of the Board of Trustees of North South University, Mr. M.A. Hashem, passed away. And it is a very sad and very a shocking news to a lot of the students and faculty as well, I think. So for that reason we would observe a 1 minute silence for his departed soul, and then we would start the show to show honor for him and all the contributions that he has done for North South University as a whole. So we would observe 1 minute silence. All right. Uh, with that being said, we would like carry forward with our show. So we would start with a happy note, sir. North South University has been ranked once again as the number one private university in the country. So what was your first reaction when you got to know this news that once again NSU number one private university in the QS ranking? What was your first and initial reaction?
Right. So before I start with that, let me add a bit of few notes regarding the untimely demise of our board member, Mr. M.A. Hashim. He was truly a visionary. He was a philanthropist. I pray for the salvation of his soul. So he has incredible amounts of contributions to the NSU family, and we all know that. And I hope all of you from the NSU community, we will pray for his soul. Now, coming back to your question, I like the fact when you said once again being the number one private university of Bangladesh. And I think that is the key to that question, right? So we have emerged as the number one private university in Bangladesh in the QS Asia ranking 2021, which was recently published in November of this year, particularly November of the 26th. Prior to this is an annual ranking that is done by QS, one of the biggest global ranking platforms that major universities around the world participate in. So we were also ranked the number one private university in Bangladesh last year. So I am very happy to let the entire NSU community know that and tell them that being the undisputed number one again, there is no question. There is a lot of questions by the students, even by a lot of faculty members and staff who do not understand the intricacy of the ranking. And there's so many rankings that is happening around the world right now. And we see a lot of news and we see a lot of universities claiming to be this and that. I will try to address all of this and clarify any questions or any confusion one might have, but I can very proudly say NSU has continued to be the undisputed number one private university in Bangladesh for the last 2 years. Now,
And
your question. Your
yes, sir.
question is, how did I feel? Uh, so, being the director of institutional ranking cell, there was a lot of responsibilities vested on me. As you understand, this is a very sensitive topic. Ranking is a very sensitive topic, and you would realize over the years how ranking has become so talked about in the entire landscape, not only in universities, but in medias, in everywhere,
Mhm.
wherever you watch, rankings is talked about a lot. So being number one again, it felt great. And quick, just a quick idea to give you. Prior to going public regarding the ranking, I know the ranking 2 weeks before everybody knows. So
Wow.
being the primary resource contact for a particular university, they are sent a fact file where details of the rankings and the scores that you have gotten in terms of particular benchmarks, in terms of particular indicators, are discussed with you. And in that fact file, essentially 2 weeks is published to the PRCs, which is the primary resource contacts, and that is essentially done for the university to prepare for the public relations, how they are willing to disclose it. If it is a good news, it is a celebration. If it is a bad news, then damage control, essentially. So I knew about the ranking 2 weeks prior to going public. As the PRC, I am only allowed to share it with only relevant authorities. For me, the relevant authority is the vice chancellor. So it was only me and the vice chancellor prior to 2 weeks knowing about the ranking. Um, but Zidar, I would like to add one other thing to
Yes.
your question. Um, it is not only about being number one in Bangladesh. I would like to disclose some other facts. First of all, we are ranked 228 in Asia. There are
Mhm.
more than 11,000 universities in Asia that were assessed, and only 638 were ranked, right? NSU 2 years back had a ranking position of 301 to 350. So after 250, it is a range given, right? So we were ranked somewhere between 301 to 350. It was a range. It was not specified at which point. So we were ranked from 301 to 350 2 years down the line, which is November 26th of 2020. We are ranked at 228.
Oh.
That is an increase of 122 spots in just a matter of 2 years. So this is something to be very proud of, and I'm really happy that NSU Talks has decided to arrange this show so that I can clearly tell to the NSU community of what you have achieved. We have achieved this together, and inshallah, if we can keep on going like this, we can achieve much greater things. Hopefully, we can achieve being in the top 100 in the next 2 years as well.
And
Inshallah.
before we proceed with the next question, like it's a big thing for us, and we tried to give as much input in this particular show as we could. As such, we had
Right.
three partners. We would like to recognize them. First of all, as you can see by our clothing, this clothing is has been given to us by our apparel sponsor, that is Tish. Prior to this show, we also had a radio interview. Our media partner was Radio Carnival, and
Right.
after this show, we would also have a post press release, which would be done by Torun, who is serving as a youth content partner. And also, I would like to give a huge shout out to all our club and chapter ambassadors who is helping us with the outreach of this particular show. And at the same time, once this show is completed, we have an amazing performance which has been organized by the Sanskritik Club, because normally we would have a huge concert and celebration on campus, but since we do not have the scope because of the ongoing pandemic, we have decided to arrange a short bit of performance, a cultural performance by our very own Sanskriti Shongoran of North South University. I think
It's
that has
it's
yeah, sir.
just to add to you. It's interesting when you say that you are hosting an online concert, uh, because the first time when we went public regarding the number one placement of NSU this year, prior
Mhm.
to this year, we had a huge celebration at university, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We had a
Yes.
huge celebration at NSU where the popular demand was bringing in James, and we had put in all of our efforts and resources to bring James into our university. It was a grand success. Everybody enjoyed the entire show. And that was the very first time I actually felt the campus really vibrating when people are moving up and down. The whole campus goes up and down. It was amazing. So the first thing when I see it was put out in the public, especially shared through NSU Facebook page, that we became #1 once again, and we have rose up the rank by 122 places. I was reading through the comments, and if not hundreds, but there were a lot of the comments that said they want an online concert. Unfortunately, NSU could not do it officially. Hopefully, when things start getting better and we start going back to campus, hopefully we will try to arrange something bigger in person. But for the time being, I thank NSU Talk for arranging an online concert that people wished for.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, could you tell us about the reaction that you got from the administration office or students when you informed the news?
So the reaction, to be very honest, was not out of this world. The reason being, we are ranked #1 prior to being ranked #1 this year. So this is not a new achievement, right? This is an achievement that we had since last year. So we are continuing with that achievement. The biggest achievement this year is, in just a matter of 2 years, we rose up the ranks by 122 places. The important thing is we are not only competing with universities, with a set number of universities in Asia, right? We are competing with newer universities that have been enrolled with QS. So there are newer participants in QS ranking, and we're also competing with them. And with that increased number of university, we are also being able to go up the ranks. So it was not out of this world as I had expected, but it was out of the world last year. This was more about a sense of relief. This was more about gracing the occasion that, yes, we did it again. And also, you understand, during this pandemic, it was hard to meet people in person. However, the Vice Chancellor is very heartwarming with this overall news. So he set up a habit since last year. Whenever we have a good news regarding rankings, uni shobaike mishti khawan. Sweets are distributed throughout the university. I don't want to specify the total number of kilos that was bought last year. It was a lot, you can imagine. and people took into the opportunity to get 2-3 sweets, of course. But this time, since the campus is not as full, there are hardly any students, and the administrative officials are doing a rotation basis. So the celebration, unfortunately, could not be as big. But I can promise you, I can promise the entire NSU community, the students, the alumni, inshallah, when things get better, we will try to do something even grander than last year.
Yes, sir. And while we speak, sir, about rankings and QS ranking in specific, could you tell us a bit about what is the exact ranking status of NSU in global and local platforms?
Zidan, there was something wrong with my internet. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sir. Sir, I was talking about, while we talk about rankings and QS ranking in general, what is the exact ranking status of North-South University in global and local spectrum? If you could talk about that a bit.
Right. So it's a big answer. I'll take a lot of your time. Hopefully you'll bear with me. It's a lot of information, so I'll try to structure it. As an economics faculty, I'm more used to structuring things. So the first statement I made towards the beginning of this show, I was talking about how there are so many rankings and how we get to see bits and pieces of that on different newspapers, on media outlets, on social media. A university ekhane better koreche, a university ekhane first hoyeche. But let me start from the bottom. So NSU and all other universities in Bangladesh participate in both local and global ranking. Prior to 2017, there was no local ranking. 2017 was the first year there was a ranking for private university. It was done by the newspaper of Dhaka Tribune, and it was technically done through a research organization called OrQuest. Unfortunately, 2017 আমাদের private university ranking যেটা হয়েছিল, the first time NSU did not come to the top. And I'm not sure whether you know this or not, but NSU did not come to the top. And it was very embarrassing for us because we felt we should be at the top because of our scale, our quality is beyond any comparison, right? 2017 was also the first year private universities in Bangladesh started applying for international ranking. The only international ranking universities have applied to and are currently enrolled in private universities is QS. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest ranking platform globally for all universities around the world. So 2017 যে র্যাঙ্কিংটা আসছিল, NSU did not come to the top as the best private university, right? 2017, right? And it was a big wake-up call. It was a huge wake-up call. And then it was decided by the university administration that they would set up an administrative office whose whole responsibility would be to strategize and implement our ranking placements in global as well as in local platforms. And hence the formation of institutional ranking cell, which I am the director of, right? So we started working starting from 2018, and Allah Rahmate, results speak for themselves. QS ranking bolo, যেটা last 2 years এ বের হয়েছে, Dhaka Tribune Orchestra ranking, private university ranking, যেটা 2019 এ বের হয়েছে, in all of the ranking platforms that any private university participates in, NSU has emerged and has continued to be the #1 private university in Bangladesh. And more importantly, there are only 2 universities, public, private to nai, we are the best private university, but there are only 2 universities in Bangladesh that includes Dhaka University and BUET. The gap was significantly larger when we started off. However, going up 122 places in just 2 years, we are closing the gap. So if I may say, the gap was more than 100 places between our closest rival, which is BUET. But now the gap is close to 28. So BUET is ranked at 199, NSU is ranked as 228. So the gap is basically 29. So যেটা 100 এর উপরে গ্যাপটা ছিল, we are closing that gap. So my achievement and your achievement as an NSU community is not only being the #1 private university, is trying to close the gap between the best public universities in Bangladesh, which is NSU, which is Dhaka University and BUET, and we are closing the gap very aggressively. And inshallah, in no time, with all of your support and with all of the quality that we have, with such amazing students like yourselves, we will be emerging as the #1 university in Bangladesh.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
So, sir, how does the QS ranking exactly work, and what are the important aspects which are considered while the universities are ranked?
So while the universities are ranked, particularly I'll talk about QS because you're talking about QS, and for all the other ranking platforms, those are not really well acknowledged. QS is quite famous and quite popular and very well acknowledged across the board throughout all universities around the world. So QS primarily focuses on 3 broad structures. One being reputation, which is 50% of the overall ranking. Reputation এর মধ্যে you have academic reputation, which is 30%, and employer reputation, which is 20%, right? তারপর you have research accumulates for 30%, and then internationalization. So if I break down the component, there are a total of 11 indicators. You have academic reputation, which is 30%, and employer reputation, which is 20%, giving you a reputation score worth of 50%. Now, what is this reputation score? Every year, QS has a list of academics and employers. They have a list of hundreds of thousands of academics and employers all around the world, and they send out a survey to all of them. And depending on their expertise, depending on their industry, they would talk about or they would nominate and vote particular industries that they think are the best in that particular industry. So you have academics, essentially, who do research with our university faculty members. You have employers who essentially hire NSU graduates. That can be local, that can be international. So anybody who is receiving that reputation survey throughout the world, hundreds and thousands of them, anybody who is voting for NSU or any other university will accumulate points in terms of reputation. Now, the key aspect is QS focuses a lot on reputation, what the market is saying. 30% and 20%, note 50%, that's a huge amount of percentage to be given only on the ranking perspective, right? So you have academics voting for universities, you have employers voting for universities, you have research. Now, prior to listing to QS, you would see a lot of journals that our faculty members participate in. I'm pretty sure Tomader faculty member, I think Zidan is from law and Zaka, you're from economics?
She's from CS.
From CSE, okay. Economics for onek better, just both the So coming back to what I was saying, so research essentially, আমাদের faculty members যারা research করে, even আমাদের students who are doing their research, whenever you are publishing in a journal, you have to specify your affiliations, right? So whenever you are writing for a journal or publishing your paper for a journal, you have to specify which institution or university you are affiliated with. So if you are an NSU student or an NSU faculty, your affiliation should come from North-South University, right? But the problem is, prior to enrolling in QS rankings, prior to 2017, we would see a lot of students, a lot of faculty members would publish in journals which are not well sought out of, not very thought out of, not internationally acclaimed. So QS and other big ranking platforms would take only data from Scopus. Scopus is essentially a database that would accumulate journals which are of great quality. So if you are writing and publishing in a predatory journal, even though your research number is going up, that does not necessarily mean that will be counting towards your ranking. So আমরা 2017 onwards, এসব জিনিস পড়াশোনা করে, after we've read up on a lot of the materials, we have encouraged our faculty base, we have encouraged faculty base across all the schools. Across the 4 schools, we are encouraging our students who are also very interested in research and they want to publish, সবাইকে আমরা প্রমোট করি যে স্কোপাস লিস্টেড জার্নালে পাবলিশ হতে করে। স্কোপাস লিস্টেড জার্নালে পাবলিশ করলে it helps yourself because you are publishing in a good category journal. At the same time, it helps the university because that adds to your research. So research on Scopus listed publication is accounted for in the research category. Research per faculty. How many research each faculty is producing, that is a key indicator as well. Citations per research. What is citation? It's very important. You will publish your paper, nobody is reading them, nobody is citing them, nobody is using that result and carrying forward your research. That research does not necessarily have any impact, right? A highly cited research paper has a greater impact. So this is what they call the research performance, right? So they would focus on research performance as well. So this is what we call citation per paper. So citation per paper is also a part of the ranking category. And then you also have internationalization aspects. What percentage of your total students are international students? What percentage of your total faculty is international faculty? How many students are going for exchange? How many students from abroad universities are coming for exchange? What percentage of your faculty has a PhD? So when you combine all of this, you get 11 indicators, but on a broader perspective of reputation, which is 50%, research is 30%, and internationalization is 20%. It's a lot of information. Sorry to bore you with this, but I think it is important we have this discussion so that we are all on the same page.
Sir, before we move on to the next question, I was actually listening to your answers as per what you're saying. And a lot of the time I've seen that, students or faculties, they aim to publish their research work or research paper in journals of other universities. can NSU create platforms for such students or faculties, or create its own journal, let's say under the Department of Economics or under the Department of Law or CSC, so that it's easier to publish their work? Do you believe such an
Right.
initiative would help in the long run?
So when you say it will help whom? The students, the faculties, or the rankings? It won't help. It won't help ranking.
Okay.
But do we have certain journals? Of course. I'm not sure about law. I'm not sure about economic. Sure about engineering. But NSU Business Review, NSU BR, we
Mhm.
have a journal. But the question is whether this journal has reached a certain level of category to be listed in the ABDC journals of the world categories, or whether they are listed in the Scopus listed journal. If these journals have not reached those categories, even if you are publishing in those in journals, does not really affect. It might happen that আমি তুমি and জাকা মিলে কালকে একটা জার্নাল বের করলাম, but এই জার্নালের কোয়ালিটি কি? Who is accepting this journal? Whether it reaches international standard, that is what we should focus on. NSU Business Review has that journal and they've been operating for a long time. I personally know that. They
Mhm.
have not been listed in the Scopus listed journal yet, but I personally know that there has been incredible amount of work that is being done currently, and it has been done for the last few years so that we reach that category. And any faculty and students who are willing to publish in those journals will be credited with due credit.
All right. Like, that is something I really wanted to ask you after listening to your conversation. Something else I would want to know about from you is that about IRC, institutional ranking. So I think
Mhm.
not a lot of students are aware about IRC. Like, even though you talked about the founding, I really want to know about the inner workings of IRC. Like, how many members work there? How does that office operate? I really want to know about IRC and how, in general, it makes sure that we reach a certain standard in regards to QS ranking. So do tell us a bit about IRC, about its workings and everything, sir.
So I'll tell you about the structure of IFC. I cannot discuss the strategy because public. This is a public interview,
Yeah.
and I am pretty sure our rival university students as well as relevant authorities will also look at this interview and try to take some key points out of this. So I will not discuss the strategies. I will talk about the structure of IRC. Essentially, this is structured under the Office of the Vice Chancellor. This office directly reports to the Vice Chancellor. Essentially, it is a team, very small team, extremely small team. And we try to ensure that we are able to optimize and gather the data from all the departments that we have so that our data are best reflected in the ranking platforms. We also try to focus on our reputation ranking. And Alhamdulillah, we try to stay under the radar, yet give out output that we have been enjoying over the last 2 years. So that is our motto. Go under the radar, work as hard as you can, make sure people don't notice you, make sure other universities don't notice you, and try to deliver as much as possible. And Alhamdulillah, we've been able to do that so far.
Oh, right. So, sir, we talked about research work. So, do you
Right.
think, is NSU planning to focus more into a research-oriented university?
Of course. So as I mentioned,
Mm.
QS is one of the biggest ranking platform, right? The other big ranking platform that private universities in Bangladesh are trying to participate in is Times Higher Education. All right. The Times Higher Education ranking platform, which is done by the World University Ranking of Times Higher Education. And the way you can do that is, in order for you to be eligible to participate in Times Higher Education ranking, World University ranking, is to have at least 1,000 Scopus listed publication in the last 5 years. So, in order to reach our goal of being listed in Times Higher Education World University ranking, we are giving it our best shot to ensure that our faculty and our students and any member who is affiliated with NSU are publishing their papers in Scopus listed journal so that we reach the eligibility criteria of having 1,000 Scopus listed publication. and looking at how that I cannot share the screen because I don't have it in front of me, but I'll just give you a brief understanding. Our research data is upward sloping. It was kind of flat. It was going up very low, but over the last 5-6 years, if you go into Scopus, if you look at NSU affiliated research publication, you see we are going north, and we are going north in a very significant way. And as it stands from the trend, and the way we have been focusing a lot on research across all schools, the research numbers in Scopus listed publication have been going up. And if this trend continues, hopefully in the next 1 year, we will be eligible to participate in Times Higher Education World University Ranking. Now, that being said, I need to clarify something. Last year, you probably have seen that there were rankings for certain Bangladeshi private universities who were ranked in Times Higher Education rankings. That is not World University Ranking. No private university in Bangladesh can be ranked in World University Ranking because they do not meet the eligibility criteria of having 1000 Scopus publication on Scopus. All right? What did you see there? That is another ranking done by Times Higher Education that focuses on SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals set by UN. So Times Higher Education would rank universities depending on which universities around the world are trying to meet the SDG goals of the UN. That is not World University Ranking. That has nothing to do with teaching. That has nothing to do with student experience research. That has to do with universities' approach and outcome on achieving the SDGs. So last year, যখন এই টাইমস হায়ার এডুকেশনের র্যাঙ্কিং এ পাবলিশ হলো, এন্ড তোমার এই নিউজপেপার তারপর সোশ্যাল মিডিয়াতে মানুষজন প্রমোট করা শুরু করলো, এই ইউনিভার্সিটি র্যাঙ্কস এত, এই ইউনিভার্সিটি র্যাঙ্কস এত, somebody who is not looking into the details will not understand this. Somebody who's not looking into the details will not understand this. And unfortunately, the situation in Bangladesh, and I'm not going to only blame Bangladesh, the situation in Asia, as well as in the Western countries, particularly in the UK, universities are very predatory and they try to spread misinformation, information mismatch thake from the readers and what the actual story is. Most of the articles are clickbaits. So through this interview, I understand you are trying to celebrate. This is a virtual celebration, but this is also a good platform for me to clarify a lot of the confusions that students have. So ওই Times Higher Education ranking, that is SDG ranking, not World University ranking. বাংলাদেশের কোনো প্রাইভেট ইউনিভার্সিটি Times Higher Education এ World University ranking যায় না, শুধু পাবলিক ইউনিভার্সিটি, শুধু ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি is ranked. Inshallah, with our research trend, we will meet the eligibility criteria. Inshallah, in a year, we will be ranked in Times Higher Education World University ranking.
Inshallah, sir. And with that being said, like I see one comment which says best economics teacher I have had in my life, and I think since you teach economics, you have a huge impact on students of economics and economics department in general. So, sir, since you are from the economics department, could you tell us a bit about the role of that department in particular in regards to the QS ranking?
So, one thing you have to realize, it is not an individual. It is not IRC. It is not only a department. It is the entire university, the entire university's community that includes students, how they are performing, how they are graduating with proper skills and getting jobs in multinational companies all around this world. They are the future employers who are voting for NSU for the employer reputation survey. You have different departments who are focusing on multiple research aspects. So it is not an individual or a particular department. It is the entire university community. But if I have to specify how Department of Economics is playing a key role, our research per faculty compared to other departments at NSU is one of the highest. Our staff with PhD, number of faculty with PhD is the highest in the business school and one of the highest in the entire NSU. One of the highest, not the highest. But business school, it is the highest. Both of this have significant impacts on ranking. And I'm very, very proud to represent the Department of Economics. And I'm not sure whether you know this. Apart from academic responsibilities, there are a lot of faculty members who are from the Department of Economics who are playing multiple roles in administration. So you had the former director of student affairs, Parisa, who was also from the Department of Economics. You have the pro vice chancellor, who is from the Department of Economics, right? And I can name a lot, many people who, aside from their academic responsibilities, are playing a very key role in administrative roles as well. So yeah, I rest my case. You should join the Department of Economics and make it even better.
And before Izaka moves on to the next question, since we're clarifying a lot of things, something else I would like to clarify. A lot of outsiders believe that NSU is essentially a business-oriented school, that it is just for the BBA students. But I believe it's a myth, because let's say I am from the law department, Zaka is from the ECE department. ECE department is also making significant progress in regards to research. Recently, they have gotten the Bill Melinda Gates research fund. The same goes for the law department. We are sending our students for DLA Piper. So I think the NSU's, each and every department is making a contribution, and I think that
100%.
that is why the community stands as whole, and that is why we have made such a big leap in regards to ranking. And also, sir, thank you to you, the way you have researched on it and the way you have presented it. I think that has even made the work easier.
Thank you very much. And getting support from all departments, the department chairs, the deans from all the school, the director of external affairs, the director of research, faculty, HR, director CPC, pro vice chancellor, vice chancellor, and of course the board. Getting directions and getting support has made my life and has made my work extremely seamless. And again, I want to repeat this. It is not an individual. It is not an department. It is the entire combined effort that has resulted in such a significant leap that we have experienced in the last 2 years.
Right, sir. So, sir, this is something we have asked to the Director of Office of Student Affairs and the Associate Proctor. So, do you believe that IRC should recruit a few student interns or officers to work under them?
So, as a matter of fact, every year during the ranking cycle, we hire 2 student workers. We don't hire volunteers. Volunteers are not paid. We want to pay my students. So we hire 2 student workers. And as you might know, this is the ranking cycle period. Even though the recent ranking just got published, but the work actually starts from October, November, and the work ends in April, May. So 6 months are our crunch time, where we try to accumulate data from the different departments, where we try to work on different strategies that I cannot disclose to you, but we need people for our work. And there is no other place better than to look for our NSU students who have worked with me, for the last 2 years, and they've done an excellent job. And as a matter of fact, there are 2 student workers who are currently working now. I have this page on Facebook. I gave out a notification regarding I'm willing to hire some student workers. And like every year, Alhamdulillah, the response has been great. I have received tremendous number of applications, very, very good quality students. And we try not to repeat. We try not to repeat the student workers because we want them to have the experience and they can learn from this. So last 2 years, we have changed the student workers. This year, we have new student workers as well. So they're getting trained. They're having this understanding on how this ranking process works, and they can also share it with their friends. So yeah, of course, আমার কাছে honestly মনে হয় there is no better place to look at. If there is an additional help required by NSU administration, আমাদের student workers can be a great asset. A better asset than hiring a full-time external someone to work for us. Because I have seen myself, our NSU students, not all, majority of them, have tremendous caliber. And if we are able to give them certain level of experience, if we are able to help them financially for 6 months or 10 months, whatever the amount, they will gain experience, they will they'll be helped financially. All of this helps both of us, the university, as well as people who are working for the university, as well as the student community as well. So I strongly vouch for the idea of student workers across all administrative platforms. And other thing, student worker থাকলে, particularly service departments গুলা, for example, IT অথবা register office, ওখানে যারা থাকে, ওখানে যদি student worker থাকে, I personally think, this is my personal opinion, I believe this is not a formal interview, it's an informal interview. I'll try to express my personal opinion. I feel service oriented departments গুলো যদি student worker থাকে, in that case I think there is a better connect between students who are trying to get the service and current students who are working as student workers. So I think there is an easier transfer of information. I think a student can understand how other student is feeling and they can try to help each other. I think it'll be more optimal, but I'm not sure that model is being practiced at NSU or not. But if you want, I can vouch for that. But I strongly believe that there should be student workers across all administrative departments.
Yes, sir. And when we talk about a smooth flow of information between students and the administration, obviously, like NECU Talks is always there, even though, sir, you are being assisted, and a lot of other offices, I believe, are being assisted. But if ever any of the offices need any service, NECU Talks is always there. We have always tried to portray the positive sides, the research works that our student does, or the club events that our student organizes through our platform, and I believe we will continue to do so. And if we can be any help in regards to the administrative sector, we would always try to make sure that we give it our best. And
On that note, Zedan, I would want to, since there are students who are participating and students who are watching this, on that note, I want to specify that we all try to do our best from our own place, right?
Yeah.
As an economics faculty, I've been teaching for a bit over 6 years now. I joined in 2014. That's a whole different story. But teaching, it's 2020 December. It's been a bit over 6 years. And I have tried more than my level best, if you talk to my students, even after they have finished my course, to help them with curriculum or any questions that they might have. And that is my responsibility. I feel responsible for my students. I do that as a faculty. Tomra as current students, tomra jeta kortecho, etao kintu is a big deal. It's a huge deal. And I really applaud you for this. Really applaud you and really encourage you to keep going forward. Hopefully, tomader taro institutionalized hole আর একটু if you come under the radar, I think the level of service and the level of information that you can give out to our current students will definitely be more effective. Definitely be more effective.
Inshallah, sir. And with that being said, sir, like obviously that we are in a very good position, but a person always tries to move ahead. So, sir, in that regards, I would like to know that what are the things that we can do right now from this position to make sure that we notch our ranking a bit higher? And what is the specific goal of IRC from here onwards? Like, if you want to keep things confidential, you can, but give out anything which you feel you can.
I think it is important for everybody to know. Apart from being the #1 private university in Bangladesh, undisputed claim for the last 2 years, we have rose up by 122 spots in just 2 years, right? This is QS World University Ranking Asia. We want to be, as I mentioned throughout the interview, as our research ranking goes up, as our research number goes up, we want to be eligible to be participating in Times Higher Education World University Ranking. NSU not necessarily focuses a lot on does not necessarily focus on sustainable development goals. So we don't have plans on entering Times Higher Education Sustainable Development Goals ranking because we are more research teaching oriented university. আমাদের কোনো কিছুই কিন্তু SDG focused না. SDG effect করে, but we are not focused there. We are more focused towards research and teaching. So for that perspective, Times Higher Education SDG ranking does not come into our radar. We don't probably plan to participate in the next few years. Two other things that I missed. So QS ranking, like Times Higher Education does World University ranking, Times Higher Education does SDG ranking, QS does World University ranking, Asia ranking. QS also does subjects ranking.
Mm.
QS also does subjects ranking. You'll be very happy to know that there are two programs at NSU who were listed and ranked in the global top 500 programs around the world. One is business and management, the other is computer science and information systems. So these are the two programs that has been ranked in the global top 500 amongst all university programs around the world. So this is, and NSU is the first and the only private university to make it in the QS World University subjects ranking. There is no other private university who has done that. And we made it through two subjects, business and management and computer science and information system. The other ranking that I am personally proud of, and you should be proud of when you are alumni, is NSU is also the only and the first private university that made it into global top 500 QS graduate employability ranking. So employability ranking, what person, how are our alumni employable? Are they employable enough? Of all the universities around the world, NSU's grads, NSU alumni made it to the top 500. We are also the only and the first private university to that list, make it to that list. There is only one other university in Bangladesh in that list, that is Dhaka University. We are in the same range, so we don't know whether we are ahead of Dhaka University or behind, but we are in that same range. You cannot bolte parba na ki aage. But if I had to speculate, of course, NSU is ahead.
Right. So, sir, prior to taking over as the director of IRC, you have served as the senior executive to the Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, also as the faculty advisor at Young Economist Forum, as well as an assistant proctor. How did you manage to take up so many roles in such a short time?
Right. So I joined back in 2014 September. Interesting note, when I joined, I was interviewed by the way faculty is recruited at NSU. You send your application and that is reviewed by the department, and then there is an interview where you have to present a paper or whatever you want to present to the department, and the dean can be there for their recommendation. I remember during my interview, right after I finished my master's, right after I came back to Bangladesh, after finishing my undergrad and my master's, I wanted to because of family reasons. And right after I came back 2014, when I was doing the interview, I remember the dean specifically mentioned to me, Muntasir, if you are being recruited, you will be the youngest faculty in the history of NSU. Alhamdulillah, I got him. Alhamdulillah, I got it. I came back 2014 August. I still remember September of 12th, 2014. So starting off as a completely fresh graduate, finishing my master's, coming to Bangladesh after finishing my undergrad and master's, the entire experience was surreal. The first surreal experience was, why do I need to get permission to enter a university? Because of all the universities that I have been to around the world, it is an open campus system, right? You do not need an ID to access or punch. So আমার জন্য অনেক experience গুলো খুবই surreal ছিল. But alhamdulillah, everything worked out. This was the best opportunity that Bangladesh was willing to offer. And I still believe NSU is one of the best places one can work right after they finish their master's or their PhD. Now, starting so early, I always thought I would take up any opportunities I get. So I'm not sure you've seen that movie. It's called Yes Man.
I did, yes.
It's by Jim Carrey, right? You say yes, you say yes to everything. It's a very inspirational, funny, yet very inspirational movie. Any opportunity that comes to you, you just say yes. I believed in that philosophy. Whether I was being compensated financially or not, I believed in that philosophy in my early stages of career. So starting off as a lecturer in the Department of Economics in 2014 September, there were a lot of responsibilities that came my way to work for the department. I worked for the department. I got noticed. And then I worked for the school. How did I work for the school? Through ACBSP accreditation. আমাদের ACBSP accreditation হয়েছে business school. This is one of the biggest accreditation, and very few private universities in Bangladesh has it. So I worked for ACBSP accreditation after I got notice from my departmental work. So my dean chose me, and then I started working for the ACBSP accreditation. We got the accreditation. I got noticed by higher management. I was appointed assistant proctor. Very, very interesting experiences. Uh, I might not look rude. I might look very chilled, but when I was an assistant proctor, I was extremely strict yet very reasonable. I understand what young minds go through. It's important to reason with them, but at the same time, it is important to set precedents, right? So I was appointed assistant proctor, and within days, I was noticed by the vice chancellor, and I was made the senior executive to the vice chancellor looking after academic affairs. So দেখো এগুলো কিন্তু সব হয়েছে 3-4 বছরে। So working for the department, saying yes, আমাদের অনেকেই আছে যে ছোট ছোট কাজ, we don't want to do it. খামাখা কষ্ট কেন করব? Am I being financially rewarded for this? No. So I think this is also a good lesson for our NSU students as well who will graduate and who will start working. Start with everything. Look at yourself. You are a current student, and yet you have taken up this opportunity of doing this amazing live show called NSU Talks, and you talk about the contemporary ideas. Look at the exposure you're getting. I know you now. Prior to NSU Talks, I don't know you. Who are you, right? A lot of people know you now. It's not about popularity. It's not about having followers. It's the reputation that you build. It's the outcome that you give. And people will talk about your outcome. People don't need to talk about who you are. You don't need to talk about yourself. Your outcome should talk about yourself, right? So, choto choto kaj korte korte, being noticed, being rewarded, aste aste, I moved up from departmental work to school work to the proctor office as the assistant proctor to the vice chancellor's office. Essentially, my role at the VC office was directly reporting to the vice chancellor there, and it was looking after entire academic affairs, right? I'll not go into the details, but it was very tedious. I was way too young to do that. I did it for almost 1.5-2 years, and then I realized that it is time for me to move on and focus on my research, because that was extremely administrative. So I could not do my classes and do the administrative work and focus on my research. So I started focusing on my research. I got published in Alhamdulillah 2 decent journals in a matter of 6 months. I was able to publish them, and all in all, তারপর দেখলাম যে in order to get promotion at NSU, you have to meet certain criteria. Somehow I met all of those criteria. I check all of those boxes, and you have to be a full-time faculty member for NSU for 3 years, to be at least for 3 years, and there are multiple boxes: research, তুমি যা বলো, অনেক কিছু আছে. So you were able to go up the line, meet that eligibility criteria, and then you can apply for your promotion, and then depending on your performance, your department chair, the
Sir, I believe we are not being able to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. We couldn't hear you for the last minute or so.
What was the last thing you heard?
How did you become a senior lecturer? Like, you ticked all the boxes, all the eligibility criteria.
So I checked all the boxes, and I applied for my promotion. And again, Alhamdulillah, everything worked in my favor. And within 3 years, I was just able to meet that criteria. I was promoted to senior lecturer in 2018. And 2018 onwards, তারপর যেটা বললাম ফার্স্টের দিকে 2017 এ আমাদের যে র্যাঙ্কিং আসলো, that was a wake up call. And since NSU management has seen me working and has seen probably has certain level of trust in my outcomes, even though being very junior, even
Mhm.
though being very junior amongst my director colleagues. I was made the youngest director at NSU in 2018, right after I was made the senior lecturer. And with everyone's support, I was able to deliver. First, কিন্তু তুমি দেখবা, you will also realize this, not only in academia, everywhere else, people will judge you by your age. তোমার কি সাদা চুল আছে নাকি, whether you have gray hair or not, right?
Mhm.
How old do you look? Alhamdulillah, I have this genetic advantage. I look very young. I'm not that young, but people will people will judge you. যে, আচ্ছা, he looks like a kid. He cannot do this and all of that. But all in all, coming back to what I was saying, does not matter. What your age is does not matter. Who you are, your work should speak for yourself. And I've been trying to do exactly that. So it was
Sir,
a it. শুনতে পারো, সিসাব?
yes, speaking of work, I would just like to add one simple thing that you have also
Yeah.
served as the curator of like the first ever TEDx at North South University. And I think
Right.
TEDx is an amazing forum of like sharing ideas and having a free speech to connect to the audience. So I would
Right.
also like to know about how was that experience like, serving as the curator of the first ever TEDx at North South University. And will
Right.
there be any TEDx organized anytime in the future once things get normal?
Right. So TEDx was an amazing platform. I did not organize it. I was the curator. I was approached by very enthusiastic students like yourselves who have done my classes, who have
Mhm.
worked with me at the Young Economics Forum when I was the faculty advisor. And they have done classes and they've always kept in touch, and they thought I would be a good bridge to be the curator and to facilitate the entire TEDx platform and launch it at NSU. So I did not organize this. It was organized by some of the enthusiastic students at NSU.
Mhm.
Um, and I was just basically a facilitator. It was an amazing experience because it was my responsibility to select speakers, and we got speakers from a wide variety of
Mhm.
industry, not only business,
Mhm.
environmentalist, feminist, cultural activist. We had people from all wide sorts of ideas, and I believe it was called reimagining beyonds, going beyond. So we were reimagining boundaries. So we were trying to break the boundaries and see what are the certain ideas that, right, whether
Yeah.
we can challenge it or not, right? So speaking to more than 20-25 speakers from all of these platforms, and then finally deciding on 12, uh, hearing their story, and then doing mock-ups with them for their speech, trying to tweak their speech, trying to give them some perspective on how to make it more interesting and more audience related. It was an amazing experience. It was a fantastic experience, and I'm very proud of that. Now, your question, can we have another TEDx platform? If there are enthusiastic students like yourselves who are willing to host and who are willing to organize another TEDx, I will be very happy from my experience to be the curator of the next TEDx as well.
Inshallah, sir. Hopefully, if things get normal, we will try to organize one ourselves if we get the
Right.
opportunity.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah. So, sir, you have spent so much of your time like traveling various countries, and you were also a foreign student, right? So,
Right.
please do tell us about the experience of like being a traveler or a foreign student.
So my goal in life, I don't have kids yet. I've been happily married, alhamdulillah, for the last 3.5 years. And my goal in life since I have graduated in 2014 has been to visit more countries than my age.
Oh.
And I have successfully done it so far. This year, unfortunately, it was a bad year, could not add to the list. So being a traveler, that was my goal when I graduated. Have try to visit more countries than your age. So far, I have been able to successfully do it. I think traveling really makes your vision your perspective a lot broader, a lot broader. You try, you really understand culture, you really understand perspective, and I think you are more moderate in your views, which I strongly believe is a quality of anyone who's living in the 21st century. You should not be radical about any views. You should be respectful. You should be moderate. And I think traveling, having that experience of traveling to multiple cultures, multiple societies, you learn from these people and you build yourself within. So I strongly encourage traveling. Inshallah, if you, all of you, when you graduate, when you have enough money, when you start saving, you should spend more on traveling than on materials. It does not matter what you're wearing. Well, we have an apparel partner. I think he
Yeah.
would disagree with that, but for students, in order to gain exposure, it is more important to get lifelong experience, and traveling is one such platform to do that. So, being a faculty, it gives me that opportunity to travel because I get semester breaks. I get 2, 3 weeks every semester. If I was working in the corporate sector, I hardly would be able to do that. So being a faculty, it definitely gives me that opportunity. And I'm very thankful for this. Very, very thankful.
Sir, before I move on to the next question, I would really love to know how many countries have you visited so far? Like the
In
number.
that case, you'll
Yeah.
understand my age. But just to give you a disclaimer, it is a lot more than my age. So far, it's been 34.
Whoa, whoa, that's a lot of countries. But as
Yeah.
you have said rightly that because of the current time you couldn't visit any country this year. So I would like to know from you that how was the quarantine for you? Because we talked a lot about academics. I would also like to ask some informal questions. How was the quarantine? How has the quarantine been for you so far?
The quarantine has been ups and downs, of course. I was extremely delighted not to go to university in the first 2 months. I have to be brutally honest.
But are you
It
missing
was
it?
so that was the first 2 months.
Okay.
Uh, I have to be brutally honest. It was amazing getting paid at the end of the month your entire salary, and you don't have to go to office. You have to work. You can work from home. It's the best thing ever, right? It's the best thing ever. But 2 months onwards, uh, I started to realize that online classes and in-person classroom environment are miles apart. It is extremely difficult. It is extremely difficult to have an effective communication with my students. And I personally feel that I am not being able to give my 100%. In an in-person classroom, the discussions that I could have had, a lot of the things that we could have discussed, forget about the logistical nightmare, but definitely I prefer in-person classroom a lot more than online classes. In terms of pandemic, I am really missing NSU campus. First 4 or 5 months, there was a lockdown. We could not enter the campus. But now, because of my administrative responsibility, I go there at least twice or once a week, and I get my things done. But I cannot do the class in person, right? It is still online. So students জন্য কিন্তু অনেক difficult. It is very difficult to motivate yourself to study in an online classroom platform, right? Um,
Mhm.
Also, Bangladesh, we have not developed, even though we are doing these classes online, the lectures are delivered online, but we're just delivering the lecture online. Our mode of communication, our mode of teaching has not shifted. আমরা যেটা আগে সামনাসামনি ক্লাসে দিতাম, এখন এটা কম্পিউটারের সামনে দিই. That
Yeah.
is not the right way to go about giving an online lecture. For an online lecture, you have to have multiple resources which has to be available online that students have to perform, and with that it will only become more effective learning, right? I am pretty sure a lot of the universities, even for my course, I was not being able to do that. I have tried, but it takes time, it takes resources, right? uh, but I'm pretty sure Bangladesh is really not ready for that yet. So I'm really, really hoping that this COVID situation calms down in a bit and we go back to in-person classroom where we can achieve greater things, hopefully.
Sure.
And sorry,
Yeah.
Zidan, just একটু add করি,
Okay.
I think pandemic I was also able to focus a lot more on my faith. I believe I'm a stronger believer in faith. I am I think I'm a frequent practicer of faith and religion, and I'm studying a lot more. So that has also helped me mentally as well. So I have also tried to take up some skill classes. I'm pretty sure as NEC students, you have access to a lot of free courses on Coursera. You have access to DataCamp. I applied for 200 free licenses for 1 year for my students on DataCamp so that they can study, they can learn coding, particularly R, because data is the way ahead. I strongly encourage students to learn them. So I got 200 free licenses and gave it out to my students. And I've also done it myself. I've done a few courses which are very interesting. I hope in this unprecedented times, our students are taking full advantage, not only by doing classes, doing online quizzes and midterms, rather the ample time you have, make sure you utilize them and build something for yourself. Hopefully by the end of the pandemic, you can look back and think, okay, this is what I have gotten. I have lost a lot. I have lost a lot in terms of time. I have lost a lot in terms of hanging out with my friends, in terms of socializing, certain things which will help me in the future. I have tried to do it. I hope you guys are doing it as well.
Right, sir. In regards to that, sir, like we have had the opportunity of working with various student organizations, and we also get like a lot of messages on our Facebook page in regards to a lot of questions in regards to academics or coursework, especially for by those students who are interested in joining the university. And what I have seen from my personal experience, sir, is that when a certain student join North South University, since it's a huge community, they at times get confused as per what would be the next course they would choose for the next semester, even though there's a course outline which is given. But at times I believe they need a certain amount of guidance. And I think even in regards to, let's say, joining a certain club, they also need a certain amount of guidance, right? So sir, in that regard, sir, do you believe that there should be a student representative or student body who not only help guide the student on campus or off campus, but also, like, so that they can create a medium of communication in between the administration or faculty and the students? Because I believe, sir, a lot of the time faculties might be busy in regards to research work or administration, and since they take classes throughout the day, they might not be able to make that much amount of time for another student compared to someone, let's say, who is a bit experienced. So in that regard, sir, do you believe like a certain student body or a certain student representative is needed at NSU?
So when you say student body or student representative, I would like to term that as a student union. All right. So the universities that I have been to for my undergrad and my master's, I have seen examples of students.
Sir, we are not being able to hear you. No, sir. So we are not being able to hear you. Yeah, but I don't know. There has been Zaka, can you hear?
No, I can't hear. Okay, I think sir
Sir would
will
rejoin. But
rejoin
in the
in a
meanwhile, to
bit.
all the viewers who are watching right now, I would like to tell that we have a very interesting cultural program which is coming up. So please do stay tuned. We would try to reach out to sir in the meanwhile. I think the performance that the Sangskriti Sangathan has brought about is very interesting. Yes, sir. Sir, still the same problem. I'm not being able to understand what the issue is. Yes, but sir, mane, we can't.
So you're muted, I think. Oh, acha.
So you can unmute yourself and try to see.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Yes,
Perfect.
So I think there was something wrong with my
Earphone.
My earphones, right?
Yeah.
So you can hear me well now?
Yeah,
Yes.
perfect.
So I would like to understand student representative and student body. I think what you're meaning is a student union.
Mm-hmm.
So from my universities that I have been to, from undergrad and my master's, I have always seen examples of student body being present. The responsibility and the role and the function of the student body was to be a middle ground for faculty administration and the students.
Mm-hmm.
I am pretty sure there is a lot of miscommunication. We are faced with a lot of miscommunication from the administration and the student. And there is no middle ground, somebody who will mediate and facilitate that information. Having a student body will definitely help. Having a student body will definitely help. But apart from mediation and facilitation of this information and helping students primarily to adapt to this newer environment of university, because coming from school to higher education, which is university, the experience is very different. And
Mm-hmm.
one needs to have tailored instructions from the courses that he wants to do, from the clubs he wants to attend, from how to even enroll in courses. There's a lot of things that can be done. Our student clubs right now uh, try to address some of them, but not all students are members of the student clubs. So
Mm-hmm.
there are huge percentage of the student body who are left completely on the dark. I support it. I don't know if the administration supports it. I am very progressive. I would strongly support a student body, a student union, and especially if it is democratically elected by the students.
Inshallah. I think that is an amazing kid that you said, sir, because I believe that it will certainly help the university as a whole. And what we have been trying to create through our platform is a proper flow of communication. Because in this particular platform, we have hosted faculty members, club members, even normal students who have had significant achievements. So I feel that if such is implemented, I think it's going to have a benefit to every member of the NSC community. And with that being said, I think Zaka has some interesting sets of rapid fire type questions. So Zaka, you can take it over from here.
Yeah. So the first rapid fire round will be this or
Can't
that.
hear
So
you,
you
Zara.
need to choose. Uh, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you now.
Yes, sir. So, sir, the first
Can't hear you,
round
Zara.
for the
Sir, I can hear her.
Unfortunately, I can't hear her.
Sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Zidan can hear me.
Okay. So I'll start the rapid fire. It would be this or that. So I'll start with the first word. Maybe Zaka can try it on the second word. So the first word would be online classes or on-campus classes.
Of course, or yeah, in person, in campus classes. Of course.
Right. Online events or
Can't hear you,
on-campus
Zara.
events?
I don't know what happened. I miss
Acha,
hearing your voice.
online events or on-campus events.
On campus events, for sure. As I
Uh,
mentioned, right?
yeah.
I want the campus to erupt. Online event তোমরা এখন করবা আমি বুঝবো না তুমি মানে how are people really enjoying it, but this is the best we can do right now, right? So we're trying to
Yes,
do
sir.
the best.
Okay. People are trying to arrange as many online events as possible.
Right, so if I have to choose between these two, definitely in person events.
All right, music or sports?
Music.
Uh, Sir, canteen food or home cooked food?
Home cooked food, for sure.
Cricket or football?
Cricket.
Since you have traveled to a lot of countries, this would be a very interesting question. Europe or America?
Europe. Any day.
All right. Faculty or traveler?
A faculty who's a traveler.
Okay. Next up, Zaka, could you try once again with describe the following in one word? Let's see.
NSU becoming the number one.
Nothing.
Asha.
Unfortunately, nothing.
But, I can hear her. She's pretty audible from my side. Okay, I'll do it myself. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So it's describe the following in one word. If you had to describe the feeling when NSU became the #1 private university in the country,
Hard work paid off.
if you could describe the feeling of being the director of IRC,
Big responsibilities.
the faculty advisor of EF,
Fun.
being the assistant proctor of NSU,
Being the assistant proctor of NSU. Acha. Hated person.
uh, serving as the senior executive to the honorable vice chancellor.
Public enemy.
All right. If you could, sir, describe your favorites. If you could tell the favorite country you have traveled to in accordance to you.
I think if I have to select one, it has to be Switzerland because that is out of this world. It's like in the pictures, what you see in the pictures can't do justice.
Yeah.
So Switzerland has to be Switzerland.
Uh, your favorite meal or cuisine out of all the travels? I'm pretty sure you had a lot of great food. So if you had to pick a favorite meal or cuisine,
I am a meat person. Anything that is a red meat, I love them.
Mhm.
So anything that has red meat in it and well cooked and is juicy, I'll go for that. No particular cuisine.
I think in this quarantine, a lot of people have spent a lot of time watching movies and all. If you had to choose a favorite movie from your perspective,
So I'm a very big Guy Ritchie fan. I like British comedy. So
Mhm.
I, if I have to pick one, it has to be Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. If you guys haven't watched it, make sure you watch it. It's called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. It's funny.
If you had to choose a favorite place on campus on North South University.
My office.
All right, this is the final word. Very interesting. I believe you watch football, sir. So
Yeah.
if you had to choose, which is your favorite football club? The club that you support a lot.
My favorite football club since childhood has been Real Madrid and is Real Madrid. I don't follow football as much now as I used to, but it has been Real Madrid. And Alhamdulillah, I was able to watch the second El Clasico in 2013-2014 season. I got the tickets 48 hours
Like
prior
you
to the match
attended the El Clasico live on stadium. Whoa,
at Nou Camp.
whoa.
Yeah, it was a dream come true. I was probably one of the very few Real Madrid fans, and I got a lot of hate from people around me, but it was worth it.
Supporting Real Madrid in Nou Camp is a pretty risky business, I would have to say.
Right.
So, with that being said, we are done with this part of the session. For all those who are watching, we have a cultural program coming up, which has been organized and arranged by the Sankshritik Sangathon of North South University. But before that, I would like to know from you, sir, your closing words, your final thoughts on being a part of NECU Talks.
So first of all, I would like to thank Zidan and Zaka, who I can't hear. Sorry about
Sir,
that.
can you
There
hear
has
now?
to be some technical issue, but I know both of you have worked extremely hard. You've been in touch with me for the last 1 week, and the first time I heard it, I have to tell you, I was very excited because this is one platform that I can reach out to my students and I can clarify and I can talk about our achievements. It is not my achievement, it is our achievement, and people should know about it. And through NSU Talks, I was able to clarify and promote our achievements. Thank you, Zidan and Zaka, and every other team member of NSU Talks for having this platform. I'm pretty sure you'll come up with even better guests, more interesting guests, and you'll have more livelier conversations, and that will definitely help lift up the spirit of our MSU students and faculty members, and we'll learn a lot from each other. So thank you very much for having me. I am really looking forward to the virtual celebration that we are about to have.
All right.
I'm looking forward to the lineup as well. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Sir, I hope you would be staying with us in this live session as we watch the performance.
I'll have my dinner if that's all right.
It's okay. It's okay. No worries. All right. So to each and everyone who's watching, the time has finally come. like we couldn't arrange like a concert, but I'm pretty sure this is no less than a concert because the performance that Sanskriti Sangoton has set up is no less amazing. So I'll be sharing my screen and you all would be seeing the performance. Zaka, please give me a heads up that whether the screen is visible or not.
All right. Okay. This
Is it
screen,
visible?
it will take a bit more time. Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, I'm starting.
আবৃত্তি করছি বাউন্ডুলের মন ভালো দিন। আজ আমার মন ভালো দিন, দুঃখ যত উড়িয়ে দেব পাহাড় চূড়ায়, কষ্টগুলো ভাসিয়ে দিয়ে নদীর জলে, অভিমান রাগ চাপা থাক মাটির তলায়। আজ আমার মন ভালো দিন, আজ আমি আকাশ ছোঁবো করে ভর পাখির ডানায়। আজ আমি আনন্দেতে থাকবো ভেসে, ক্ষণিকের উল্লাসেতে উঠবে ভোরের হৃদয় খানি। ক্ষণে ক্ষণ উঠবে হেসে নয়ন তারা, আজ আমার মন ভালো দিন। অকারণ খুশির ছোঁয়া লাগুক প্রাণে, আজ আমি হবই সুখী। উচ্ছ্বাসেতে বাঁধন হারা, আজ আমার মন ভালো দিন। আজ আমি দিনের শেষে রাঙিয়ে মনখানে মোর সুখ স্মৃতিতে, বারে বার আনন্দেতেই হব সারা। ঘুমঘুরি স্বপন মাঝে আসবে ফিরে পরশতারি, আজ আমার মন ভালো দিন।
এবার শত্রু দৃশ্য বাতাসে ভেসে তার ইঙ্গিত, হতে হবে আরো সাবধান, বুকে বুকে বাজে রণসঙ্গীত। জানি আবারও আলোর মিছিলে ফিরবে পথের ভোর, ঘরে ঘরে দুর্গ গড়ে এই রাত পোহারো। চলো একসাথে দূরে থাকি বিশ্বাসে কাছাকাছি, দূরে দূরে কাছে থেকে দেশটাকে ভালো রাখি। চলো একসাথে দূরে থাকি হৃদয়ের কাছাকাছি, দূরে দূরে কাছে থেকে দেশটাকে ভালো রাখি। চলো একসাথে দূরে থাকি চেতনায় কাছাকাছি, দূরে দূরে কাছে থেকে দেশটাকে ভালো রাখি। চলো একসাথে দূরে থাকি হৃদয়ের কাছাকাছি, দূরে দূরে কাছে থেকে দেশটাকে ভালো রাখি। চলো সবাই জীবনের আহ্বানে সামনে এগিয়ে যা, জীবনের আহ্বানে সামনে এগিয়ে যা। বদলের হাওয়ায় ভাসে দেহ মন প্রাণ, সুখের সাগরে হবে শত দুঃখের অবসান। যেমন আজ যাব না ছেড়ে ভুলে সবই অপমান, বিজয়ী হব তাই সামনের গানে। সবিলে আমরা মেতে উঠি জীবনের আনন্দে, এই তো সেই সময় শোনাচ্ছি সুরের ছন্দে। সবিলে আমরা মেতে উঠি জীবনের আনন্দে, চলো এই ক্ষণে আমরা তাকে স্বাগত জানাই। শত আশা শত আশা শত আশা শত আশা, কিছু বাবার আশার স্বপ্ন সব পথ পেরিয়ে শত বাধা এড়িয়ে লক্ষ্য খুঁজতে চাই আজ সব পথ পেরিয়ে শত বাধা এড়িয়ে লক্ষ্য খুঁজতে চাই শত আশা শত আশা শত আশা শত আশা আজ হাতে রেখে হাত স্বপ্নগুলো আজ একসাথে ভুলে যাব না বলে স্বপ্নগুলো আজ সৃষ্টির পথে আজ সব পথ পেরিয়ে শত বাধা এড়িয়ে লক্ষ্য খুঁজতে যাই আজ সব পথ পেরিয়ে শত বাধা এড়িয়ে লক্ষ্য খুঁজতে যাই আশাগুলো আজ আরো হয়ে জ্বলে উঠে আশাগুলো আজ এসে তৃপ্তি এতে নেই কোনো পিছুটা নেই কোনো বাধা শত আশা শত আশা শত আশা শত আশা শত আশা শত আশা
I mean, that was certainly an amazing, amazing performance presented by the Sanskritik Sanghathon of North South University. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like checking my phone to see the responses, and at the same time, I was also looking at the performance. I couldn't stop myself from moving a bit to the nice tune and the nice music that the Sanskritik Sanghathon has presented. The performance was so good. I think it deserves an on repeat. Do you want it to play on repeat? What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, of course, it deserves an on repeat. I think we will upload it after the show so that people can watch it again. And it really made me nostalgic. Like it made me went back to the campus and the concerts where we used to have so much fun. So it was very nostalgic, right?
It was truly an amazing, amazing performance. I really loved it. Once again, I would wholeheartedly like to thank each and every member of North South University Sanskritik Sanghathon. They not only made the performance, but the way they made the video, the way they coordinated in the last song, and the way they presented their dance, the way they presented the poetry. It was truly, truly amazing and truly, truly phenomenal. I would like to thank the Sanskritik Sanghathon of North South University who have always given out amazing performances, whether it's on the Poila Boishakh on the 14th April, whether it's in the Bashant Utsav, the very last event on campus. Thank you so much, NSUSS, for doing this. I think this is truly a celebration of North South University becoming the #1 private university in Bangladesh. Thank you, NSUSS. And with that being said, Zaka, any parting words from your side?
I would like to thank all our partners once again, Tish, Torun, and Radio Carnival for supporting us throughout our event, and also the club ambassadors who have been supporting us. And I'm already getting so many feedbacks. So, yeah, thank you everyone for supporting us. We hope we can organize more events like this in the future.
Thank you so much to our club and chapter ambassadors and all our partner, Radio Carnival, youth content partner, Torun Apparel partner, Tish. Thank you so much to IQB Sir for giving us an insight as per how to rankings work and how did NECU eventually become the #1 private university for a consecutive year. I would also like to thank Deepu Kumar Sarkar, the sub-executive board member from North South University Debating Club and also club ambassador of this particular event for giving an amazing debating performance, if I have to say, in the very first session. And with that being said, it's a long night. I think Christmas well spent virtually, given this is the time of the pandemic. We would like to end the session. Thank you to each and everyone who has tuned in and stay with us from 8 p.m. onwards. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was an amazing honor to have this virtual celebration. And if you ever feel out that we could be handy in regards to organizing an event in Northwest University, being an outreach partner for any of the on-campus clubs or chapters, please do reach out to us. We are always at the service of the NEC community. With that being said, it's a good night from us. Merry Christmas once again.
Merry Christmas. Good night.